Rev up your engines!
Bonus says, what is the best car you've ever owned? Best regards, BMW addict, Swedish girl. Okay, personally, the best car that I ever owned, I still own. It's a 94 Toyota Celica. It's got 240,000 miles on it. It still runs like a clock. The air conditioning still blows cold. And other than that, it was an 81 Toyota Corolla SR5 that I had that was a nice hatchback, had a 5-speed standard transmission, a 1.8 bulletproof pushrod engine. I mean, the things can run forever. They're not speed demons by any stretch of the imagination, but in terms of the best car and how long it would run and still not give you too many problems, I'd have to say it was the Celica by far. First car I ever owned was an Opel. I started to dream about it last night that I got it back and it was all fixed up. I guess my mind is thinking strange things, who knows? But that was nothing compared to the Toyotas. I mean, absolutely nothing. Now he says, a 2002 Audi A4 1.8 turbo with 140,000 and a standard transmission. Think it's worth $1,000 for a Project Rally rig. It runs and drives. Yeah, I mean, hey, if you get a rally car for $1,000, realize those are endless money pit cars. It's just the way that they are. But if it runs and goes down the road and you want to make a cute little rally car out of the thing and use it on weekends, go ahead. You're only throwing $1,000 out. If something big goes wrong, junk it. It's not that much of a loss for a rally car. But don't put a whole bunch of money in it. Don't think, ooh, I'm going to soup it up. I'm going to upgrade the suspension. I'm going to do this and that. Do not put a ton of money into it because the thing is basically worthless. Nobody wants to give any money for those cars anyways. But at least it's got a standard transmission now, so you don't have to deal with all the garbage of the Volkswagen, and Volkswagen owns Audi and Porsche, horrible automatic transmission disease that they all generally get as they age. So, heck, for $1,000, if it runs good now, that could be a fun toy for rallying around. Noah MRV says, I just bought a manual transmission, front-wheel drive, 2009 Volvo V50 TR5R design, 7,500 Canadian with 145,000 kilometers. What are your thoughts? Nothing's wrong with the car. 70-something thousand miles, which isn't much, and 7,500 Canadian, which is probably like, what, $5,000 US or something like that. It's a decent deal. With the standard transmission are pretty good on Swedish cars. Their automatics on those, they're pretty much garbage, and as they age, all of my customers with those things, the trannies always went out, cost them a fortune. A few of them would spend $4,000 or $5,000 and fix them, and most of them just junked the cars. But you got a standard transmission Volvo, and they're a lot stronger. So, hey, take care of it and drive it. Who knows? Some fool paid a lot more money than that when it was brand new, and you got it at that price with that low mileage. Hey, baby, it could be a fun car to drive around in. And the Volvos are really good in the snow. It snows in Canada, so. Miso Ramirez says, what are your thoughts on an 05 Scion TC for $3,000 with 150,000 miles? Those are good vehicles. Now, they don't make them anymore, but they really do. I don't know what Toyota had in their mind. They decided to call their cars Scions and sell them to youngsters, the millennials, and even younger people. And around us, they would go to events and they'd give free road tests with good-looking 20-year-olds giving the road test, either male or female, depending on who they were going for. Then after a while, I guess they decided it cost them too much money to have separate Scion dealers, even though they were really Toyotas, And now they're selling them as Toyotas. But they're well-made vehicles. There's nothing wrong with them. You can get it and it still runs good with that kind of mileage. I mean, I've seen them with 300,000 miles on them, and they're nice looking cars. There's nothing wrong with it. Normally I tell people don't buy a car that they don't make anymore, but really they still make them. They're just going back to calling them Toyotas again. I don't know, they got a weird set in their mind. I can understand them making Lexuses separate from Toyotas because back when they started doing that, most people weren't going to spend $40,000 back then for a Toyota, but they would for a luxury Lexus, even though it's the same company. Well, that was the opposite. They thought, well, the cool hipsters, they want a Scion. They don't want a Toyota like Mom has a Toyota Camry. They want a Scion, but that kind of failed, so now they call them all Toyotas. Wasim Giada says, Scotty, can I install traction control for my 2003 GMC Envoy that doesn't have it? Well, of course you can do whatever you want, but it's going to cost you a fortune because you're going to have to install all the sensors, the wiring, the computer software. That's expensive stuff. It just really is. And the money you'd spend for an older vehicle, a 16-year-old vehicle, I don't think it's really worth it. Truthfully, the GM traction control doesn't work that well anyways. I rented one a few years back, we went to Lake Tahoe. We were riding around all this frozen wasteland. So I got in it and I started doing donuts on the ice. And the track control is supposed to keep it from slipping and sliding. It still slipped and slid like mad on ice. So it doesn't impress me. I wouldn't spend the money trying to do something like that myself because it really doesn't work all that well. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.